We're dedicating today's Express to Port Moody's most passionate people. On today's show, Casa Fabesso's Chef Roberto.
Please review the list of complicits.
Shift Art's One-Act Theater Festival.
Sinister Skin Tattoos and Body Piercing.
The artists of Sinister Skin Tattoo.
Today I free-handed the background in behind.
The bakers of Cake Ya.
We use fresh cream in our cakes, not so much buttercream.
I love Port Moody. I think Port Moody is a great city.
See that and more. Local expression. Welcome to The Express. I'm Jo Hannaford, and this is our Port Moody special. Today we're going to show you some of this city's top spots that are also some of this city's best kept secrets, like right here at Casa Fabesso. But up first on our Cultus Lake Big Summer feature, we're sharing a big piece of Port Moody's history, one that dates back 125 years.
Big Summer is brought to you by Cultus Lake Water Park, BC's #1 water park.
So the 1890s were pretty quiet around here, but by the turn of the century...
For Isabel, a visit to the Port Moody Station Museum brings back memories.
That's when my dad started to work at the CPR. He came out from Winnipeg.
Isabel and her friends from the Poppy residences in Burnaby are here for a trip back in time to when Port Moody was the end of the line, the train line.
I think trains is something that almost everybody can relate to, and especially most seniors I encounter, regardless if they're from Canada or from anywhere in the world, have some story of riding a train or a relative who has worked for a rail company or something like that. So it brings back lots of memories for people. When they looked at the geography of Port Moody, surrounded by mountains. Our group today is a seniors group, and so we do a brief tour through the museum, telling them a little bit about Port Moody's history and what happened in the station. And then they do a tea and tour on our rail car. So we have a 1920 sleeper car that has been converted into a dining car that we can serve tea on.
Isabel, what does being in a train car like this bring back for you?
Old memories of my childhood.
Yeah?
Absolutely. I came out here when I was a child with my dad and my brothers. That used to be a real special Sunday trip.
This year is particularly special for the Port Moody Station Museum because it's the 125th anniversary of the first passenger train from Montreal arriving in Port Moody.
Well, the CPR initially identified Port Moody as the western terminus, and then a few years later decided to extend the line into Vancouver. So today, Vancouver is known as the western terminus.
But that doesn't take any shimmer off the museum.
The museum's in a station, a CPR rail station built in 1908. And so we have some rooms that are recreated around the 1920s era to depict life in the station. And then we also have displays about Port Moody's history.
But there are certain stories you just can't learn from objects in a museum. Jim used to work for the railway.
I was born in Revelstoke back in 1916. People got from one town to another by walking the tracks. But you had to be awfully careful because the toilets on the train emptied onto the tracks, and you'd land in the middle of something one day, and you had to watch your step very carefully.
What do you think of the whole museum in general?
Oh, I think it's wonderful. It brings back all your memories, and it gives them a chance to display some of the things that we had.
I think it's a great place to learn about local heritage and history of Port Moody, but also the context of this community and BC's history, and to really appreciate how rail travel was important in Canadian history.
I'm Erin Shaw in Port Moody for The Express.